So today I'm going to talk to you a little bit about bread, because one of the things we noticed when we moved from Denmark to the US was that the bread here, especially the bread you buy in the supermarket, is extremely highly processed and full of sugar. And that kind of took us by surprise, and it didn't really appeal to our tastes, because in Denmark you don't really put sugar in bread, and the bread is not really processed. It's a lot more, you have to chew it a lot more. It's more rough. Here the supermarket bread is so soft it almost like melts on your tongue. It's weird, I can't really explain it, but to us it just didn't really taste like bread is supposed to taste. So my husband started making his own sourdough bread. So he had a sourdough starter, and every night he prepares the dough, and then in the morning he bakes the bread. And he feeds the sourdough starter every night as well. And it's an interesting process, but I started reading a little bit about sourdough bread and about the advantages of it and about gluten intolerance. And I guess with gluten intolerance, it's kind of a hot topic these days. And back in medical school, we learned that either you have gluten allergy or you don't have gluten allergy. There's no such thing as gluten intolerance. There's no such thing as you either have the allergy where you have the antibodies, or which is then you have celiac disease, or you don't have it. Now people are talking about gluten intolerance and stuff, and the inflammatory sort of nature of gluten. And I think, to be honest, I think the jury's still a little bit out on exactly what, when I look at the evidence, the jury's still out on that. But I will say this: sourdough bread, if you think you have gluten intolerance, if you believe in gluten intolerance, sourdough bread is a lot better, because the sourdough breaks down the gluten. So the gluten content in sourdough bread is a lot lower than in regular bread. And for that reason, sourdough bread is actually pretty well tolerated by people who don't really tolerate or who don't want to eat gluten. So just a little fun fact on bread and the advantages of sourdough.